In 2021, Riot came out of nowhere and delivered the best animated series I've seen in my entire life. It's spectacular, it's emotional, and it's extremely well told. It's the gold standard for video game adaptations. I'm sorry The Last of Us, but this is it. The series is based on their ever-popular League of Legends game. Looking at it, it's definitely not the sort of game that you'd expect a serious adaptation from. Cinematic, story-driven games like The Last of Us, Fallout, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, and the like are much more suited to adaptations. It's relatively easy. The games have already done a lot of work for whoever wants to adapt it. That's why it's so frustrating to hear about God of War going through so many different scripts and struggling to get the adaptation off the ground when the current stories are so good. Why the Anyways, I digress. A game like League of Legends, although it has mythos and some level of backstory built in, doesn't have a single continuous story arch that runs through it like these other types of games I mentioned before. That makes an adaptation so much more tricky, because a large part of the storytelling will have to be original, based on the characters within the game. A lot of it will be uncharted territory, and you know how that's gone in the last few years. Yet, somehow Riot pulled it off, and spectacularly so.
Never a dull moment.
The series looks incredible. They went for a stylized 3D look. Along with it, they mixed the 3D animation with 2D effects for explosions, magic, and most atmospheric effects. But what sets this apart from other adaptations is its writing. At its core, Arcane is the story of Vi and Jinx. And layered on top of that, it's a fantasy story that touches on family, community, belonging, betrayal, politics, censorship, classism, the haves versus the have-nots, the government versus the people, and somehow manages to weave multiple storylines together in intricate and smart ways. That description sounds more like Game of Thrones than an animated series based on a MOBA game. So needless to say, when the teasers and trailers for the second season finally started to appear, I could not be any more excited. The first season ended on an absolute cliffhanger. The Piltover Council was voting to give Zorn their independence. In the last shot of the season, we saw the rocket that Jinx had launched breaking the window to the council meeting, with Bedlam about to be unleashed. From the new trailers, you can see that Jinx's final act in the first season did in fact set off absolute mayhem and chaos. Jinx killing the whole council just as Zorn is about to get their independence has ignited havoc. Instead of the two cities going into an era of peace and prosperity working together, Jinx has condemned both cities and their citizens to war and torn all remnants of peace apart. She's just started a civil war between Piltover and Zorn. It seems that her journey into darkness will be completed in this season, as she's likely the rebel leader now. Will there be redemption? Can there be redemption? Time will tell.
Watch it all burn.
From the trailers, it's clear that Vi is spiraling out of control, most likely from guilt.
You're not ready.
It was after all her decision to abandon her sister after Vander's death. That single decision has been the catalyst for everything leading up to this point. Will she be able to move past that?
Jinx! Please. I told you to stay away! Please, I need you, please.
If Jinx is the rebel leader, then Vi will have to step up and stand against her. It looks like the inevitable clash between the sisters is going to be absolutely electric.
Jinx!
Finally got the name right. Sister.
Sides have been chosen and lines have been drawn in the sand, and it looks like no one is going to come away from this unscathed. There haven't been a lot of movies or series this year that's really gotten me excited, but this just looks like it's going to be incredible. With that sort of excitement and build-up, it also brings expectations up sky high. With Season 1, it sits at number 28 in the list of highest rated series of all time on IMDb. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 100% critic and 96% viewer rating. Dear Hollywood, see what happens when you write captivating stories with compelling characters, even with female leads? From what I can see in the trailers, the stylization still looks incredible. Let's just hope the story continues as well as it did in Season 1. What I also appreciate so much is that the second season will also be the final season. They had an overarching story from the beginning that they wanted to tell, and they are finishing their story their way. I have a lot of respect for that. I simply cannot wait for the 9th of November. No pressure, Riot. Anywho, that's me signing off.